in count one of criminal homicide, 39-13-201. That's an 8 felony. It's punishable by 15 to 60 years in state penitentiary. Count two is employment of firearm during a dangerous felony, 39-17-13-24. That's a D felony. Normally,
60 years. This is how long this man could be in prison. Frankly, I have seen worse. But he had his fans. He thought that was enough. Today we find out what that actually was worth. Let me read you the charges because I think they deserve to be read out loud. Count 1, attempt criminal homicide, a felony, 15 to 60 years in state penitentiary. Count 2, employment of a firearm during a dangerous felony, mandatory 6-year sentence, 100% no parole. Count 3, reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon, 3 to 15 years. Count 4, also reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon, another 3 to 15 years. He is 28 years old. The top end of these charges combined is longer than he has been alive, twice over.
You're charged in count one of criminal homicide, 39-13-201. That's an 8 felony. It's punishable by 15 to 60 years in state penitentiary. Count two is employment of firearm during a dangerous felony, 39-17-13-24. That's a D felony. Normally, that range of punishment would be 2 to 4 years in state penitentiary. However, by statute, this case is a charge is enhanced, and if you don't have any prior convictions, it's a mandatory 6-year sentence at 100%. Count 3 is ag assault with serious bodily harm, 39-13-102. It's a C felony, carries a range of punishment 3 to 15 years in state penitentiary. Count 4 is reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon, also a C felony, 3 to 15 years in state penitentiary. Have you hired an attorney yet, sir?
Just let that land for a moment. A judge looked this man in the eyes and told him he could die in prison. And the most remarkable part of that is that it was entirely preventable. All he had to do was leave people alone. Frankly, that should have been easy. Here's the detail of the story that keeps coming back to me. The courtroom was not empty. There were people there, protesters outside, people inside who had specifically made the trip to watch this happen. Not one of them was there to support him. No family, no friends, no fans holding signs. Nobody who wished him well was present in that building. Just Chud, alone in a room full of people who had traveled specifically to watch him receive terrible news. Which brings us to something he said 3 months ago.
Who's helping me, bro? I can't even, my whole family doesn't help me, bro. I don't have federal agents. I don't have organizations. I don't have people behind me except you guys.
They were not in that courtroom. The people he gave up his family for, the people he gave up his reputation for, the people he was performing for every single day, they were not there. Frankly, that is a very expensive lesson. Bond was set at $1.25 million. Chud does not have that $1.25 million. 3 months ago, he was running a fundraiser because he could not afford groceries, while staying in Airbnbs, while eating steak dinners, a financial strategy I would describe not ideal. Even the 10% needed for a bondsman, roughly $125,000, is almost certainly beyond his reach. But it gets better, because even if he had the money, the bond companies in Montgomery County have publicly stated that they will not touch this case. Out of 20 companies, people who post bonds for accused criminals for a living, the majority said no. They considered him a community risk. People who bond out accused criminals looked at this man and said, "We're going to pass." And then separately, one of the most prominent figures in the exact movement Chud was performing for publicly called for him to be sent to jail.
I say send him to jail. I don't think what he did was defensible. Yeah, at a certain point, if you're running around with a gun antagonizing people and then you shoot somebody, it's one thing if somebody attacks you for no reason and you shoot them. It's another thing if it's like, here I am with my live stream where I provoke confrontations. I hope I don't have to kill anybody today. I don't know, man. I wish that he could just reform and, they give him a slap on the wrist and he doesn't do anything again, but that was going to happen no matter what.
The people he ruined his life for are now advocating for his incarceration. There is a version of Dalton Etherly's life where none of this happened. He had a family, people who knew him before all of this, who described him as decent and even kind. He traded all of that for validation from an internet audience that did not show up when it counted, that will not be posting his bail, that has, in several cases, actively called for him to remain in prison. The internet cheered, the internet moved on. Chud is still in that courtroom, and frankly, that's embarrassing. If you found this useful, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.